plates break or shift when the pressure and stress on each other exceeds the strength of the rock. Whew. It's impressive stuff. We have heard that there was an earthquake that Wow, those donkeys sure are crazy. If you're just tuning in, this is the Black Ron Burger reporting live from State College, Pennsylvania. We've just been told that there's been an earthquake here in the local area. An earthquake is a sudden, sometimes violent movement of the Earth's surface from the release of energy in the Earth's crust. The crust of the Earth is divided like a jigsaw puzzle into large segments called tectonic plates. It is here that most earthquakes occur. They happen when these crustal plates break or shift when the pressure and stress on each other exceeds the strength of the rock. We have heard that there was an earthquake that seismologists have determined using seismographs that the magnitude was a little mediocre 4.2. It is a common misconception that earthquakes are measured on the Richter scale, when, in fact, the Richter scale only measures the amplitude of the seismic waves. Whew, impressive detail. Well, let's send it out to Brooks with more information.
Yes, Ron. There was, in fact, an earthquake here. Let's take a look at the damage. As you can see, we have construction workers out here, and working me here is kind of loud. I'm trying to fix up the damage and everything that has happened. And Ron, I heard you mention something about the seismographical recordings of the earthquakes earlier. I think it's appropriate to add that they are measured logarithmically, which means a 6.0 on the scale is 10 times greater than a 5.0. Crocky! I'm getting word that there was just another...
Hold on, stop, we're on.
Yes, Ron. Yes, Ron, there was in fact an earthquake here. Let's take a look at the damage. As you can see, we have construction workers at the moment trying to fix up everything that has happened. I'm sorry, you gotta work with me here, it's kind of loud. And Ron, I heard you mention something about the seismographical recordings of the earthquakes earlier. I think it's appropriate to add that they are measured logarithmically, which means a 6.0 on the scale is 10 times greater than a 5.0. Crikey! I'm getting word that there was just another earthquake. Let's send it to Steve, who has more on this story.
Yes, Brooks. What you heard is true. There was in fact another earthquake in the area. I cannot believe this. I'm being told this is much more devastating. I'm receiving accounts that this one has a magnitude of 7.3. This earthquake has the equivalent energy value of over 200,000 tons of TNT. This is absolutely shocking. Only about 17 to 20 of these earthquakes occur every year. They produce some massive faults, which are the areas of the Earth's crust that have been fractured. I'm going to try to get some personal testimonies of what these poor people are feeling during this earthquake. Okay, you're good. It's Steve Kirkpatrick here, interviewing David Jackson after the earthquake. And David, I'm just wondering, how did the earthquake affect you?
I mean, it was completely devastating. I mean, as you can see, looking around my room, you know, it just trashed everything. It was just complete carnage. Everything was shaking, falling over. And the funny thing about this is, I just cleaned my room yesterday. You know, the thing that's really bothering me, the thing that I want to figure out is, you know, what type of earthquake it was. I mean, I'm trying to figure out if it was a normal earthquake, as you can see here, or a transform, or a reverse. Just gotta figure this out. You know, the thing that really bothers me is just trying to figure out what type of fault it was. I mean, whether it was a normal fault, a transform fault, or a reverse.
So this is Steve Kirkpatrick again, sitting with Brandon Hassel and talking. Brandon, I'm just curious, what were you doing when the earthquake happened?
Well, I was sitting in my lounge chair watching the NBA playoffs, kind of like this. And all of a sudden, shit just started shaking everywhere. I just cussed. Yeah.
Steve Kirkpatrick here again with Brandon Hassel. Brandon also was present during the earthquake. And here, Brandon, I'm just curious, what were you doing when the earthquake occurred?
Well, I was watching the NBA playoffs in my lounge chair. Started to doze off, and all of a sudden, That's what happened. I'm glad I wasn't in Alaska. I had the worst earthquake.
Steve Kirkpatrick again, here with Brandon Hassel, who was also present during the earthquake. And Brandon, I'm just wondering, what were you doing when the earthquake occurred?
Well, sitting in my lounge chair in the living room, watching the NBA playoffs, and I started to doze off. When all of a sudden, that's pretty much what happened. Glad I went to Alaska. They had the most earthquakes in the U.S.
Back here with the black round burgundy. This earthquake wasn't the worst in history like the one in 1556 in China that left 830,000 people dead. It's very scary, as you've seen, to the people in State College who are terrified after this disaster. Also, gladly we don't live near an ocean because we could have run into a tsunami, which is normally an earthquake's offspring. But that's all we have for you today. Hopefully we gave you some news and best of back here with the black round burgundy. Well, this wasn't the deadliest of all earthquakes like the one in 1556 in China, which left 830,000 people died. Back here with the black round burgundy. Well, this wasn't the worst earthquake in history like the one in 1556 in China, which left 830,000 people dead. But this one's very scary, as you've seen in the interviews to the people here in State College, Pennsylvania. Also, gladly, we don't live near an ocean where a tsunami could have resulted due to the earthquake. So I guess in this negative situation, that's one plus we have to look forward to. Well, that's about all the time we have here today. I wish the people of State College a fast recovery, and I wish the best for all those who were injured in this natural disaster.